Okay, so everybody just real quick, I want to hear. It's Monday when we're recording this right now. It's Monday when we're streaming live. It's Monday. It's Monday here in America right now. So my question is, how you feeling today? Did anybody wake up like and already be triggered? Who's already been triggered today? Put a T in the chat for anybody who's already been triggered today. Put a T. Come on, let's just see, because these are the human moments, right? We call them human moments. These are the human moments that sometimes you feel like some of you guys are justified in why you got upset or you were triggered. Some of you guys are like, geez, I already failed. Like I've been trying to tell myself to be more patient or flexible. And other people, it's just like you're triggered, but like you're still not using your voice, right? And so you're triggered because, like if you're to really be honest, you're triggered because you haven't prepared for success maybe with somebody or something in your life. And so what happens is you're in this constant repetitiveness of being triggered. Am I right or am I right? Say yes if you understand what I'm saying, right? Say yes if you need to prepare differently so that you set yourself and other people up to win. So today's going to be a great training. And today I'm going to talk to you about, first of all, your buyers are triggered, right? Your buyers are triggered. People who are hiring you are triggered by something. So if you're a therapist, you already know they're very triggered. But if you're in the relationship world, you probably already know that they're triggered in their relationships, right? Or family management. But know that we're triggered around finances, right? How many guys triggered around finances? Put a dollar symbol in the chat. How many guys triggered around finances? So what does that look like for you? You go to spend money on something and it feels like a cost. And it's really irritating because it's another cost, right? Like it's like another cost you got to pay, right? So yeah, so if you are working with people in business or life insurance or, you know, real estate or, and somebody's having to come out of pocket, right? And money is a thing, you're negotiating around money. It's a challenge because people are triggered by it. So I'm going to unblur the back of my video here because I'm not about looking good. I'm about being effective. And so I'm going to pull my fancy little flip chart out and I'm going to ask you to think today. Can we get some thinking today? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to think. This training right here could unlock some pretty great financial freedom. How many of you guys have crickets when you go do something online? Crickets, put a C for crickets, right? Like you go online, you do a video, there's crickets. You send out an email, you're like, is anybody even listening? Trust me, they are. They're listening online and they're also listening in your email list if you have them. They're also reading blogs. They're listening to you. There's the people next to you at the restaurant last night were listening to you. Truth be told, my friends and I were at breakfast and we had a good friend at a meeting in town. She's going to be coming and teaching how to understand your numbers at Zone Event, right? So we have a Zone Event end of November in Austin, Texas. It's our big annual event. It's epic. And so she's going to come teach numbers because watch the chat right now. How many of you guys really struggle with understanding either your profit and loss statements or you don't even get them? You can't figure out why you can make money and you don't have any, right? Just put me in the chat. And I want you to look in the chat because a lot of people don't understand their numbers and I don't want you to feel disempowered around it, right? How many guys, you're either not getting profit and loss statements, you're not getting balance sheets around your business. You're like, my business isn't big enough. You should be getting balance sheets on day one. Right? How many guys don't know where the money goes? It's just like it's like gone, right? Put me in the chat if that's you. How many of you guys know that there's some fear around money because you don't really have transparency around how to grow it? Because it's not just making it, right? There's the story of the mailman. I bought my California house from the mailman. He was a mailman. He bought his house and everybody goes, oh, he bought his house years ago. That's why he made so much money on his house. And that is true. But years ago, he still had the income and the economy that he had. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like his income has gone up a little bit through inflation, but he's never been a rich man. Do you guys see what I'm saying? but yet he made good decisions with his money instead of feeling like he was afraid to buy that house or afraid to buy that life insurance policy. He did it with the foresight of multiplication. That's understanding your numbers. And what a lot of you guys have is you have a cost mentality. You have a cost mentality. It costs me money to buy the house, so I can afford it or I can't. It costs me money to hire the coach, so I can afford it or I can't. It costs me money to come to Zone Event. You're freaking crazy to not go to Zone Event. You will never find another event, and I can say this wholeheartedly, that will teach you the way I teach you in that room. There's no way. If you're following my Shanda On Demand, wait till you get into a room with me, right? TheZoneEvent.com, get your ticket. But there's some people who are like, I live in Europe, so the cost is so high. The cost is so high that you don't know how to make the money. The cost is so high that you don't know how to get yourself over the mark to buy the right house. Because when you're negotiating with the seller, you end up losing your tushy because you just want the house out of emotion. Do you guys see what I'm saying? We're buying a house right now. We are hooking up the seller. Like, we are definitely hooking up the seller. They're in a really, really good spot. Him and her husband, wife are getting what they want for the house, the way we structured it. But it's because we understand money. So you've got to have a heart that when you pay for something, that whether it's a mentor, whether it's an accountant, whether it's buying a house, you want to get out of the cost mentality, because the cost mentality has you be cheap. And that cheap mentality will breed poverty. Okay, I'm not going to go too far down on this. I want you to do something for me. Every time you pay for something, I want you to say, thank you. Thank you that I had the money to pay for that coffee. Thank you that I had the money to pay for my kids' tuition. I'm not kidding you. This sounds so immature. But I'm telling you, one of the best things I ever got taught was pay myself before I pay my bills. And so even if, and this is something I've had to preach inside of my company, right? So I get the company going on priority focus time and they crush it in 3 days, right? People are leaving the end of their day. They're feeling amazing. People in my company not doing priority focus time are failing in their life. I can tell you why. They're busy. They're busy. They may be working their ass off, but they're not producing a whole lot. And I can say that wholeheartedly. You got to get to the Zone Event, you guys, because for 3 days, I'm going to go deep on this stuff. It's great on Shanda On Demand, but you are on the other side of this screen. And I can't touch you. I can't get your strategies on these boards. I can't. We have easels all around our event. Thousands of people. We're over 50% sold out right now. Well over 50% sold out, right? It's like and we're just getting into momentum. We want to be sold out by the end of next month, right? So not time to dilly-dally. Why am I talking like this to you? Because this is a cost mentality. A cost mentality hesitates. They wait to see, what am I doing in life? What's my income going to look like? Right? You can apply this to anything. Zone Event coach, house, taking a vacation, whatever. Like, I'm already starting to buy Christmas presents. Why? Because I get way ahead. Why am I going to sell out the event like at least a month and a half? I'm going for 2 months, but at least a month and a half ahead, because I'm not the mentor that's going to tell you to slide into home base at the last minute. Why? Because that's why you stress out and quit. How many of you guys have heard me say, take your year-long goals and cut it into 6 months? Because you have time. You feel like you already won, and you did, but you have time. You stop working on this. You create urgency. Are you getting it? So I'm modeling what I do. So whenever anybody says, Shanda, you change your mind on things. No, I don't. I slide in to home base well before it's needed to slide into home base. And I do that so I can be a kind mother. I can be an understanding wife, right? I can keep working on myself to raise my own standards in the areas that frustrate me and trigger. So now I want you to write this down. You got triggered this morning, right? You got triggered this morning. What standard do you need to raise? And I'm going to get into how you get engagement on your topic. What standard that if you would have already raised it, do the work right now, go in the chat. I want you to write it. right? Like expose yourself around this, because what you're going to do is you're going to unleash somebody else, and then you get a heaven blessing. Guys, I want you to know something. I was literally doing my miracle walk this morning. Some of you guys don't know what I do, but just, you can get a concept. Doing my miracle walk this morning, and I heard from heaven that this is a season of increase. There's a prophet that just called me and said, within the next 30 days, there's going to be a transfer of wealth to my people. Okay, so I don't know who his people is. Who are the God people out here right now? Put God in the chat, right? Just put God in the chat, like unashamedly put God in the chat. Doesn't matter if you're Catholic, Jewish, Christian, you know, into crystals and you believe in God, whatever, like what's your deal, right? And so it's like, okay, so look for the transfer, which means that you must regulate, just like go from cost mentality to abundant, which means you need to ask yourself, what do you want right now that you're holding back on? Because you will not be able to get engagement with your content if you're not this person behind closed doors. And by the way, I know there's a lot of you guys working hard, but I've been trying to tell you all last week, the badge of honor working hard doesn't get you to be able to have the privilege of leading people with your content, your message, your book, your real estate sales, your network marketing company, your coaching company, your homeschool, your trauma, your doctor. Like, you don't get to be free because you work hard. That is a privilege of having health. That is a privilege to work. Where you get to lead at a high level is you must get rid of the cost mentality, because that's all about you. And yes, it's connected to things you want. And I'm telling you, this is critical, because this is the foundation to having your content work. You have to influence people, and that's not the same as saying you have to be an influencer on TikTok. It's not what I'm saying. Okay, what I'm saying is that if you wanted to get your leads from TikTok, there's people out there that you can hire for a couple $1,000s a month that will show you how to dominate the platform. The problem is if you have a cost mentality, you don't say things like, there is a season of increase. Now, let me show you how this connects to your hooks, your messaging, and the work that you're doing. Are you guys starting to pick up what I'm saying? Are you hearing this differently than you've heard before? Are you feeling like something's connecting in, right? Because there's something happening here. And I know it's transferring to some of you guys, because as I'm going into this next spirit, and I'm going into this, not spirit, season of increase, I heard this morning, it's happening everywhere. Then I get a call from a prophet, you know, kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm thinking about Nancy Rudy, and then Nancy Rudy calls, right? It's like one of those, like, it's like that, right? And so prophetically, if you don't know what that means, it's spiritual, right? That there are these prophets all around the world right now about, in 90 days, we're halfway through right now, that they all got a download. That is, people were being transferred wealth. Now, you will not get a transfer of wealth if you operate in trigger, because what that says is you cannot handle it. Would you hire me to be your financial coach, your marketing coach, your sales coach, your business strategy coach? Would you get yourself on a plane to Zone event if I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so stressful. Like, this is so stressful. Like, money is so stressful. Like, marketing is like, oh my gosh, my links didn't go out and they broke. Oh, like the thing doesn't work. It's a recession. No, you would not, and you should not. And by the way, you could interview anybody on my team that you see messaging in the comments in the boxes. And you could ask them, who's Shanda behind closed doors? Right? Who's Shanda behind closed doors? Okay, and I'm sure they will tell you, go stalk a couple of them and see if there's a pattern in what they say. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? So I want to tell you, I'm a reformed, or I'm a healed stress case, because I used to be a hot mess on everything until I surrendered. and I started getting out of cost mentality, and I started to get into the giving mentality. Okay, so this is how this connects to your message. Your standard has to raise to increase your income. I'm going to leave it at that. If you didn't watch last week's trainings, you should watch them. They were fire. But they were fire that were not inspirational. They were fire that actually unhooked something in your mind so you think differently so that you can lead. I'm not interested in your video going viral if it's like you paid for it. You know, because you could pay for influencer marketing, by the way. You can go pay a bunch of people to do it, right? I'm interested in you getting another 20, 30, 100 buyers because you said something that affected them and you stopped them in their tracks. That's why they bought your iPhone. That's why they bought your agenda. That's why they came to your retreat. That's why they joined your network marketing company. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, I want people to come to you because you said something that stopped them in their tracks. So the way to do that is you need to find out what triggers your buyer. And I want you to write this down, and I want you to work on this today as homework. Okay, so now I know there's if you were a client of mine and meant to be live, there's gonna be 72 to 74% of you that are gonna do the work. I know that because I know my statistics of success. We have the highest success rate of any business mastermind here at Hardcore. Okay, and that's because we're on your tushy about making decisions and moving. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we're on it. It's accountability, it's everywhere in my company, right? And so you need to know what triggers them, and I need you to figure this out today. You need you to figure this out today. Okay, so if my son comes to me, he's 8 years old, and he says, Mom, I want all the kids to play Blades with me. Or if I had a little girl, I want all my friends to play Barbies with me, whatever, right? I know Barbie is controversial these days now. So you get what I'm saying. So I would not tell my son to just have a voice and go in there. I would teach my son how to think. This is why he doesn't go to school and he's in homeschooling. Okay, I teach him how to think. What's triggering your buyer? What's triggering your friends? What's triggering the business relationship that you want to do a joint venture partnership? This is intimacy. So I have something called an empathy model. This is connected to the empathy model for you guys that meant to be live that are watching. If you want to go deeper in this, go look up the empathy model. For you guys who are meant to be live, go look up the empathy model, okay? Because this is the same type of thing. So you want to know what triggers them. Before you do a webinar, a video, don't just, like, I know people will tell you, and it's great, just get online and just do something every day. There's power to that. It's low standard, but there's power to that. Because what happens is the hope is that you won't give up, and the hope is that you'll get better. Well, I can show you how to get good right now. You ready? Still got to go every day. Still got to create connection every day. If you only do a video, an email, a blog, wherever your connection point is once a week, we're going to have low sales. So now it's up to you. Do you want to still start? Oh, nobody watches my videos, or nobody watches my reels, or nobody answers my emails. Like, just get over it. It's just like, you just need to do it consistently. Just say, I'm going to do this for 6 months consistently, Monday through Friday. Can you just put a 6, or I hate the 6, put a 7. We're going to do 7 months. Let's put a 7. Let's do a 7. Nice try. Do a 7, right? So 7 months we're committed. 7 months we're committed that you will do something to connect with your audience every day for 7 months, just the Monday through Friday, right? You're looking at 25 days a month. Anything. Post an inspirational quote, whatever. But this is where you get the thoughtfulness. Who likes thoughtful people? Who likes thoughtful people? Do you feel like you want to connect more with thoughtful people? Yes. So they will buy from you. Okay, thoughtfulness turns to currency. I say connection equals currency. So this is where thoughtfulness, you already know what a trigger is. So what do you think your buyer's being triggered with right now? Okay, so Esteban, women, like if I think about even like, I feel in pretty good shape right now because I'm doing 75 hard, so I don't have a lot of body issues right now. But when I do have body issues, it's like my lower abs, right? It's like, ladies, don't leave me out there. Who else got like lower ab stuff, right? Right? Just put, right? Oh, thanks, Sloan. Thanks, Nada. Right? Dr. Holly. So, yeah, so my lower abs, and then right underneath my butt, like right underneath my butt, like where my butt becomes my leg and there's no bump anymore. You know, right? Come on, y'all. Who's lost the bump? Put bump. Who's lost the bump? Put bump. Like it's like my butt connects to my leg now. And it's just not cute. And I live in the Caribbean where I'm wearing a bathing suit all the time. And so it's just like that. So, okay, so there's my body issue right now. Because now what I'm getting intimate, right? So what am I triggered by? I'm triggered by like cellulite under my butt. I'm triggered by I'm not feeling confident to walk by a bunch of people in my bikini. I'm good with my abs right now, but I'm being intimate with you right now. Like I'm actually being real. Like I would put on a pair of shorts or a skirt to walk across the pool. And I really admire the women who have done the work. Notice I'm not a victim, who have done the work to figure out what exercises at what consistency lift their butt, right? And then my thought is well, I know you can lift your butt at my age because I have a couple girlfriends who are older than me who still have a bubble butt, okay? They still have a bubble butt and they're 50 and 52 years old. They're older than me, right? And they have a freaking bubble butt, okay? One works out a lot and one doesn't work out a lot, but she works out on the right things. Okay, both of them eat healthy. Okay, so this is what I mean. Do you see how long that took? Now there's the surface thing. The surface thing, Esteban does weight loss, right? So the surface thing, that's what I'm using as an example, would be, well, they just want to lose weight. Yeah, but there's an intimacy that gets the content engaging. And so if I talk about the experience of walking across the beach, the pool, right? And we're not, because there's women out there who could care less what they look like and will wear a thong bikini with cellulite everywhere and they don't care. That's not the buyer to this. That's beautiful that she feels that way. That's just not this buyer. This is why when you're afraid to speak and get haters, that you're not really understanding. The haters tell you that you're onto something. You've got a specific enough context to what you're putting out there, okay? So I want you to celebrate the haters, okay? Because they actually are your feedback that you're onto something. Not because you have haters, but because you have an opinion or you're saying something that creates controversy. Because there's a lot of people be like, you should feel great, baby, about your body wherever you go. But it's like, no, that's not my standard. Right? Some people, and by the way, it's not a bad standard that the woman with cellulite walks across in a thong. That's not a bad standard. It's what's important to us. Can you guys hear this? It's what's important to us that becomes our standard. This is why you must shut down the stories around you, or the people's comments around you that tell you you should think or feel differently. That's BS. That is called your test. That is your test. That are you strong enough to lead millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people? If you're strong enough, you don't get triggered and fight that person. If you get triggered and fight that person, you are actually telling our Father up in heaven that you're not ready to lead, because you have to be able to neutralize. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? You got to be able to neutralize. So some people neutralize by not looking at comments. Some people, like Shalene Johnson, just deletes them. It's like, bye-bye, right? Brene Brown doesn't read them because it hurts her heart. So she just doesn't read them, but she knows they're there. And that's, you know what I mean? Do you guys get it? So everybody wants to be free, but nobody wants to have courage. You got to have courage. So the triggers, what is triggering your buyer specifically? And then you go from that and you say, how do you give family style advice? This is not your product or service. This is where people totally screw up the leadership of enrollment, of sales, right? It's all service. A funnel is service. When you lead a message, you're in a funnel. You need to, so this is all empathy. So if, I talk to my family different than I talk to a potential buyer. That's just called safety. Feel safer with the family than I feel with the person who might, feel like I'm trying to sell them, or you just put your limiting belief in here, whatever holds you back, right? So you need to get into the mentality. Some of you guys need to put a picture of someone in your family or a friend that you are you have a certain tone to your voice. That's critical. There's a certain tone to your voice that has you be honest. If you want to make a lot of money, the more honest you are, the better. That's why people judge Gary Vee out there, or Grant Cardone, or Suzanne Evans, or myself, right? They judge the leaders because we have a tone in our voice that is pretty much like, I don't really care if you talk about me. Like, I guarantee you there's people around dinner tables that are talking about me. I guarantee you. And there might be two of them that have the same negative experience with me. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Because birds of a feather flock together. Now, I can also guarantee you that there are tables, dinners, coffees that people are talking about how this content has changed their life, how they're getting on the plane and they're coming to the Zone event, right? How they're taking charge of their family and their friends, and they're bringing people with them. There's a movement happening. We're in a season of increase. And when you're in a season of increase, you want to be with people who are in a season of increase. They talk different, they see different. I'm going to give you a quick little story on this. Talking to my mom yesterday, and my mom is moving from Vancouver, Canada. Do you guys know this story? So this has been a long journey to get her to here. So she's leaving her country, she's coming here, we're moving her to Puerto Rico, and she's sold everything. I'm so proud of her, so proud of her. Like she's doing it, I'm so proud of her. This is a woman who has anxiety to fly on a plane by herself. Okay, like I have to send my aunt with her to get on a plane to come see me. Like it's a thing. So she's getting on a plane by herself. She's flying down to California to meet me in California. She's arranged all her shipping herself. She's been selling her furniture and her house for 7 months, all you planners out there. Like she started 7 months ago liquidating all of her furniture and all of this stuff. She's so cute. And so it's all gone, right? And now the car is left. And so she sells the car to this guy and she calls me up. She goes, Shanda, I sold the car. I've never dealt with any of this stuff by myself, but it feels so amazing. She's so empowered. So they sell the car and the guy's having buyer's remorse because he bought it for his granddaughter. I don't know why she's getting payments on this, but he basically gave my mom $5,000, said she could drive it to the end of the month, and then he'll pick it up and give it to his granddaughter. His granddaughter doesn't want payments. I don't know the deal that he made with her, but he probably should have asked the granddaughter first. So she doesn't want the car. So now he's trying to sell the car. My mom's trying to resell the car. And my mom's like, I'm not getting much for it. I'm only getting like $33,000 for it. So I started my miracle walk talking to her on my earpods, and I'm like, that car's gonna sell for $42,000. By the end of the week, you're gonna have an offer for $42,000. My mom goes, Shanda, stop. I have it listed for 33. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going, Mom, it's gonna sell for $42,000, and God's gonna work with your faith. And I shared some things that have happened with me recently. And I said, your little car is no big deal for him, right? And so, you guys, this was not positive thinking. This is called millionaire thinking. See, cost mentality tries to get what they can get. It took me about 3 to 5 minutes to get my mom to see this. And I said, but Mom, and I said, you're being super negative and you're limiting this. Just because this is what these people said they would pay, and it's really all dealers. I said, I want you to sit down when you go to the pool today, because she's going to the pool yesterday. Probably like the 4th sunny day in Vancouver all year, right? She's going to the pool yesterday. And I said, write who this car is perfect for, right? My mom's a great saleswoman, but she's been in a cost mentality most of her life, right? That's why it took her so long to finally make the decision to move. Some of you guys are taking a long time to make a decision to launch your program, your product, a decision to get married, a decision to separate, a decision to launch a book, a decision to hire a coach or a mentor, a decision to get on the plane to go to thezoneevent.com, right? Don't miss that event, you guys, right? Somebody go put the URL in the chat, thezoneevent.com. Don't miss that event. But some people are overthinking. Overthinking will talk yourself out. If you overthink anything in life, you will talk yourself right through the circle out. And then you will have regrets, okay? Because you won't even know what was possible if you would have got on that plane, or you would have launched that book, or you would have gotten on that stage unprepared and not ready. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what doors are going to open because you're still holding yourself back. You got to stop. So I get my mom to write this letter, and I said, I want you to go post it on Craigslist. She goes, well, I like my sites. I go, I know you like your sites. Leave your stuff on your sites. I said, heaven said Craigslist. Just go be obedient and post it. What's the worst that can happen? So I don't know what's happened, but I know she's getting an offer for $42,000 before the end of this week. And I'm gonna follow up with her every day and send her voice notes to prime her mind to keep her in it. You know, because if there's so many guys missing the breakthrough, you're speaking to people about obvious pain, which makes you boring and nobody can see you. That's why you have no engagement. You're giving buyers advice, buyers headlines, buyers marketing. You're trying to sell a buyer, trying to get something still because you're in a cost mentality. You just want to sell to get. It's not a bad thing, but you got to elevate. If you want more people to be connected, you need to give family advice in the same tone you would speak to a family member. I talk to you just the same way I talk to my mama. You get what I'm saying? Now, whatever that advice is, it needs to be honest. It needs to be the advice that you kind of don't even want to say that word because you're worried that somebody's going to disagree with you, and they will. And when they disagree with you, it will create a tension on the web that will bring you people. You don't need 1 million people to agree with you. How many do you need this month? 10, 5, 20, 100? So now you flip to and you say, now you go, do you have an offer? Do you have an offer, a product, a service? Do you have an offer, a product, or a service that would relieve their pain? And if you don't, you need to think about creating one. And I'll talk more. I don't have time to talk about that today. But really, you want to think, what is the offer I have that I could match to this pain? So I'll give you an example. I have a list building product. I help people find more buyers. We specialize in it, right? And we've had that product for a very, very long time. If it's network marketers that I'm talking about, the pain, the thing that triggers them is that 95% of all network marketers don't make money. And everybody thinks the system is rigged. That's not true. It's actually a great demonstration of how many people fail in this world because they don't know how to lead. Because there's a whole bunch of people in network marketing making incredible money. Coaching industry. The percentage of coaching companies that are not making it, it's just as off the charts as network marketing. It's just as off the charts. But there's a ton of people making a ridiculous amount of money, and it didn't matter if they started 6 months ago. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if they started 6 months ago. People say to me, isn't the industry swamped? That's a good sign. That actually means that there's a massive amount of interest. If you lead your content like this, what is what is my buyer triggered on right now, in this season, this month? Right? You might even think if it was their birthday, or you get what I'm saying? Like, you start to go in, the more courage you have to go into specifics about specific situations, the better advice you're going to give, family style advice. And then you ask yourself, how does my product match that. So if I take my list building product, the way I would talk to network marketers or the way I would talk to doctors about getting more patients. Like, do you guys know that I have a lot of doctors and nurses that more than doubled their income in their online platforms than they ever did seeing patients? Okay, and so many of them shut down their practices because they want the time and money freedom. Do you get what I'm saying? And they want to keep doing what they want to do, but they don't want to deal with medical anymore where they're regulated. They want to move to a different model where they can take their skills and actually get fees for it. Does that make sense? For concierge medical or things like that. We go to a dentist that does not take dental. They do all ozone treatment. They don't use fluoride. If you don't know about that, you should, right? There's a whole bunch of dentists that will not, just so you know, they get paid more for fluoride, right? Or at least they do here. I shouldn't speak for all dentists, right? And so, you know, you get incentivized to use certain products. And so you get it? Like, these are things that unless you were in the world, you wouldn't know. You just show up and take the advice. Well, I'm saying we're in a world of increase. We're in a time in this world where education is at an all-time high of people consuming it themselves and saying, what is it that I want? I'm going to go find the solution because somebody knows. You are that somebody for someone. But if you don't lead in where they're triggered, so if you were a dentist that didn't want to use fluoride, you would be a dentist that was working with a very specific group of people that were triggered that they cannot get their kids' teeth or their teeth cleaned without fluoride. That is a great video. Do you not think that that's going to get attention from us? And then do you not think it's going to get hate? For sure. But what it's going to do is fill your practice. Do you get what I'm saying? So good family advice. And then what's the offer? And then the question is how much? Now this, I'm going to go into more this week. I'm going to jump on to my on-demand mastermind, which are on Zoom with me right now. And the how much in the on-demand mastermind, you might want to start thinking of this. I'm going to turn off the stream on social media right now. If you want to join us, you can go to join me in VIP.com. For you guys watching us on social right now, not on the Zoom, but on social, you know, join me in VIP.com and you'll be added either right now or tomorrow. I can't guarantee you'll get on right now, but you'll be added on tomorrow and then you could run with us Monday through Friday. Okay. Sound good? On the Zoom. So you guys on the Zoom, on the on-demand mastermind, I want you to start thinking about this as I close down this stream. Okay. How much are you charging and why? How much are you charging and why? Then the question I propose to all of you, is how much do you want to make? How much do you want to make? Because many of you guys are pricing based on what you think the market will consume. And that's where you go back into the cost mentality. If you're going to get out of the cost mentality and you're going to get into the currency economy, where you control the currency, right? Because digital is here, right? Digital is here. Banks are starting to now tell you they were already telling some of my clients last year that they couldn't get access to their money. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, you better make some money now. When I say come to the zone event, I'm saying you'll be at a disadvantage to not be at the zone event. And yes, I will be that bold. Because it's very, very timely to learn how do you prepare. We're going to show you how to get your mind right around money. We're going to show you how to create marketing that really converts. And we're going to show you how to package and price in a way so that you can actually make the money that you need for your vision. But I'm going to stretch your mind because I think most of you guys are actually still thinking too small. Can anybody agree with me? Like, you need to be thinking bigger. Put big in the chat if you know that. Okay, so here's the thing. Tomorrow, I'm going to go on how to skyrocket your weekly sales. I'm looking down because I have all my curriculum written here. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about how to skyrocket your weekly sales. For you guys who are ending this live right now on social, and you're not on joinmeinvip.com. And by the way, okay, so just notice that. We got joinmeinvip.com. I'm making offers all the time. And the reason why I'm making offers all the time is because there's people who want to hire me. There's people who want to hire you. And you haven't prepared through your thinking to help. On our on-demand mastermind, which is on Zoom, right now, you guys, this was a vision I had last year for 1 month. And then it was so well received and helped so much. It's like, I'm going live anyway. Well, I'll do it again. And then it was my chief operating officer that said, why don't you just start an on-demand mastermind where you do this? And I had to think about it because I was like, I would normally be off the live right now. And I'm going to switch over to the on-demand. It's a time commitment for almost no money. But you know what it is? It's a great resource for you to get way ahead so you can afford anything you want. And I will tell every single one of you, you need to go to thezoneevent.com and get your ticket before we're sold out. Okay? You got to get your ticket before you're sold out. So the conclusion is how much are you charging for your services and why? And tomorrow I'll pick you up on how to increase your weekly sales at 9 a.m. California time, 12 noon Eastern. All right, you guys, bye social media. See you later.